Alright kids, if you're looking for a funny video, just go ahead and click off now. You're not getting a funny video today. Usually I don't talk about serious topics on here. Usually I'm known as the guy that makes funny jokes and plays fucking mid video games. But today I wanted to talk about a situation that's kind of hitting close to home. So when I was a young boy moving out of Pennsylvania, PA, my hometown where I live now, for about 5 years of my life, I actually lived in Georgia. I lived there for about 5 years, and I had a family of neighbors called the Cunninghams. I grew up with them. We've had our ups and downs at times, but these were people that I spent my childhood with and hung out with a lot. Their son, JJ Cunningham, I spent a decent amount of my childhood with. We would go outside, we'd play sports, all kinds of cool stuff like that. If you're a fan from the Georgia area, you probably hear about this story by now. If you're not in Georgia, you most definitely haven't. But basically what's going on is about 2 weeks ago, probably about a week and a half ago, I come to find out that JJ is in fact in the hospital from an ATV accident. He's had about 2 skull fractures, brain bleeding and bruising. And right now he is in a sedated state in the ICU, currently fighting for his life. Let me start from the beginning of this story. JJ was in a ATV accident. After that, he suffered a skull fracture from the situation, as you would probably do in a fucking accident. Cops came up to the scene to register aid. JJ became kind of combative, and rightly so, as when you're in a skull fracture, when you have a fucking skull fracture, and during situations like that, you get confused, you get dizzy, you don't know what the fuck's going on, so you panic. Instead of the cop helping calm down JJ, they hit him with 50,000 volts from a fucking taser and proceeded to put him in a headlock. So I have one question for the police in Georgia. You get trained in fucking stupid town, buddy? Cops in Georgia have never been fucking useful whatsoever. And in fact, there was one other incident from the same county that they live in where cops had the same situation against someone in an accident, and the body cam footage mysteriously disappeared. They don't know what happened to it. Isn't that just a fucking coincidence, huh? Right in front of me, though, I have the footage of the news video, and I will gladly show it to you. And then I'll talk about it a little bit more. By the way, I would just like to add, this video is not for the fucking faint of heart. It is a man going through a really tough situation, and it's not exactly for the faint of heart. So I just thought I just make that clear. And yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and play the video now.
Come on, he's got a head injury. How many times do I gotta say it? He's got a head injury.
A local family accuses Chautauqua County deputies of abusing their loved one rather than helping him following an ATV accident last week. Chautauqua County paramedics say that they tried to help the man, but he began assaulting EMTs.
Tonight, that 21-year-old is hospitalized, and 3 of his family members face charges of obstruction after that medical emergency erupted into chaos. Fox 5's Angelique Proctor joins us, and Angelique, we've seen video of the encounter. What exactly happened?
Well, good afternoon to you both. We want to warn you, the video that you're about to see may be tough to watch. Christopher Cunningham Jr.'s mother was brought to tears as she explained to us what happened. She says Chautauqua deputies got called to render aid to her son for a head injury, but instead she alleges they slammed him to the ground and put him in a chokehold and tased him. Paramedics contend Cunningham assaulted them.
How many times do I gotta say it? He's got a head injury.
Several of the Cunningham family members rushed to the scene of Christopher Jr.'s ATV accident on State Line Road near the Alabama line. They were praying the 21-year-old was okay. His parents and sister were shocked to see Christopher Jr., fondly known as JJ, injured and acting erratic.
They put me in the police car. I could see his little legs just flopping around.
And I knew they were wrestling with him. And I kept saying, he's got a head injury, please. He's got a head injury. He's not like this.
Carmen said she had hoped deputies could de-escalate the situation, but she says the opposite happened.
We're waiting on help. We're waiting on help. We're waiting on the officers to come just hold him so they can give him a shot, sedate him, calm him down, and it didn't go that way. It didn't go that way.
Chattooga County deputies indicate in an incident report that Cunningham hit the EMTs, refused treatment, and was belligerent and had an odor of alcohol on his breath. Deputies finally arrested Carmen, her daughter Kari, and even her husband, Christopher Cunningham Sr. All three are charged with misdemeanor obstruction.
It's just a nightmare. This is a nightmare. We were expecting help. We didn't get help.
His family says JJ is in a Rome hospital with 2 skull fractures and at least 2 brain bleeds. The Cunningham's attorney says compassion should have been shown.
But the police arrived, and instead of assisting to get medical attention to him, they turned this into as if he had just murdered someone.
Now the family says JJ is heavily sedated and not responding to commands. At this point, they say his medical prognosis is really unknown. The attorney says he wants all of the charges against the family members, including JJ, dropped. And he says he's still investigating to determine if they will file a civil lawsuit. At the live desk, Angelique Proctor.
Wow. There's so much I really want to say about this situation, but it's just going to make me go into a fucking frenzy. So I'm going to try to keep it calm the best I can. Police, what the fuck is wrong with you? Because there was no reason any of that was justified whatsoever. Because if a cop should know this, a fucking cop should know this, because it is their job. It is their fucking job. When you say someone fucking goes down from a drug overdose and you register Narcan to them, if a cop does it or anyone does it, the dispatcher over the phone will tell you that when you register the Narcan, back up, because they can become combative because they're confused. They are in a state of confusion where they don't know what the fuck's going on. They're scared because they just been in a traumatic accident. They don't know what the fuck's going on. So what the fuck, police, what justified you to tase a man with 50,000 volts from a fucking taser to a man who just had a traumatic brain injury, and then you have a headlock where you cut off brain to an already damaged brain? How fucking stupid do you have to be? I can't believe that cops manage to be this fucking dumb in this day and age. Alright, because cops are getting out of fucking control nowadays. This is abysmal to see. Absolutely fucking abysmal. Take the George Floyd situation, for example, for a big example. That piece of fucking shit, Derek Chauvin, who I hope rots in a fucking prison for the rest of his goddamn life, and I hope he gets the shit beat out of him for it in a cell, had his knee on George Floyd's neck for 9 minutes and 29 seconds. You know how long the brain can go without oxygen? Not that long at all. Okay, so when you do it for 9 minutes and 29 seconds, look what happened. George Floyd, unfortunately, died from that incident because he allegedly used a $20 counterfeit bill. I will protest police brutality for as long as I fucking live. Because if there is one thing I learned, just to give a demonstration, I took 3 years of a criminal justice class. Now, I might have not have learned too much because I was too busy being in fucking inspection mode all goddamn day. But if there was one thing I learned, one of the big things was use of force. This was absolutely by no fucking means, this was not justified whatsoever. The use of force was not justified. I don't care what you say. There was no reason to taser a man who had a damn skull fracture from an ATV accident. It's not happening. And I know this family. And I know. So I totally 100% believe that all 3 of them got arrested because they needed to come fight for their loved one. Absolutely, I will believe that. Because that fucking family loves each other. If that's one thing I learned about them over the years, they love each other, and they will do whatever the fuck they need to fight for each other. Because love runs deep, especially in the damn South. Motherfuckers will die over there for one another. It's crazy to see, but it's respectful. Oh, but Nathan, police brutality happens every day. Why are you only talking about it now? I think about it every fucking day of my life because it's never going to stop, unfortunately. That is so unfortunate to think. It's really such a shitty way of thinking, but unless something really drastic fucking changes in the world, police brutality will go on for as long as we fucking live and the universe will live. And it's unfortunate that it has to be said like that. But the only reason, the big reason as I'm talking about it now is because, one, it's talked about every day by a lot of people. Police brutality is most definitely prevalent, but it's not until you've had a situation where it hits close to home, it becomes more relevant in your life when a kid that you grew up with and played sports with outside in your childhood is now fighting for his life in the ICU because of the fucking mishandle by some police. That's when it becomes needing to be talked about. That's not ignorance, but it's the fact that it can happen to literally anyone. No one is safe from shit like this. But let's talk about the situation afterwards. Kari, Carmen, and Chris, they are all, the parents and sister of JJ. Basically, what's happening next is they are all looking into possibly doing a civil suit against the police for their mishandle of force. They are also seeing about getting their charges dropped for obstruction of justice. Come on. I think that's a bullshit one. I think that's a bullshit charge for them. But anyway, they are looking to get charges dropped and possibly filing a civil suit for mishandle by the police for what is currently going on with JJ. And all I can say is, Cunningham's, if you're watching this, best of fucking luck to you. JJ is in my mind every damn day. This is a kid I grew up with, and he's definitely made an influence on my life. Just staying active, stuff like that, and just having fun. And that is why I fucking hope for the best that, the turnout from JJ ends up being okay. But yeah, I just wanted to come out and talk about this today and just release some of my frustration and possibly even bring some awareness. So yeah, that's about it. This has been your man Crathan, and I will see you all in the next video.